naked shamanism. Welcome to Withinsightsradio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Howdy, everybody. Iggy here. Just wanted to say hi and good morning on this beautiful Saturday. I'm here at the cemetery visiting my folks and everyone else who's here. Just kind of laying around, not doing much, but you know, they deserve it. They've come to that place in life. Okay, all jokes and puns aside. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about just what will you do? What are you going to do? You know, so many of us, we go through life and we put our hands in the hopes of other people to do things for us. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm a big proponent that sometimes putting our hands and our faith and our trust into, let's just say, bureaucrats, for example, is not always into our best interest. Sometimes we put our hands into the doctors and we hope that the doctor knows or she knows what's best for us and what's good for us. But that's not always true. I posted something today about how petroleum-based products was used in production of foods. And it's not that it's production of foods, it's actually a way to recycle and refine that stuff out. Because they can't dump it. They just can't dump it wherever they want. So they create it into some type of synthetic food, something that our body will not assimilate and will not take. Okay, so if you do the research, and that research is controlled by the people who actually create the research, so they're going to say what they want to say. You know, history, it's his story. Never forget that. So don't be blinded, don't be fooled. Even you may have friends who agree with this statement, not this statement. It doesn't really matter. It's really what is important to you. And what's important to you will affect your circle and the people around you, and the people who love you and the people who you care about dearly. Too many of us just blindly live. And that's okay for some of us. But some of us can't just blindly live and just let things happen. You know, I was really shocked and surprised about all the chemicals and things that are put in our food. It's nothing new. I'm not talking about anything brand new, nothing brand spanking, how all of a sudden I have an epiphany type thing. Absolutely not. This is something that's been going on for a very, very long time. And now all of a sudden, you get to an age where you're going to start going, you have to make a decision. Am I going to go along with the crowd, or I'm going to go against the crowd, or I'm just going to kind of watch from a distance? I mean, I can do all those things. Every single one of us can do all those things, but is that to our benefit? Even those of you who have kids or don't have kids or choose not to have kids, we're important to make help those decisions and those things that happen in life. And good morning to everybody. Good morning, Julie, David, Linda, everybody who's popping in. And today I'm just talking a little bit about the things we eat. And, you know, all the things that we eat aren't necessarily, you know, good for us. Okay, so even the things that we think that are good for us sometimes have some question marks behind them. Now, I'm not here as a doctor. I'm not here as an expert or anything like that. I'm here as a human being, a concerned consumer, okay, who's just wondering, what the fuck are you putting in our foods? What the hell are you putting in the things? You know, all of a sudden, maybe I'm just noticing it more. I see more things that I usually don't notice. More autism, more HDAD, more things. Maybe they've always been around. Maybe we just didn't have a label for them. Maybe we just didn't have this. Who knows? I'm not sure. But it's really disheartening when you read the labels. You know, the red number 5s and the yellow this and this petroleum that. Things you can't even pronounce. TCH, whatever, the B, whatever. You start looking at this thing, you're going, my God, I'm consuming this all the time. And I'm not saying that you have to run off and become a vegan or become a vegetarian or do anything. I'm just saying, just be aware that stuff's there, you know, and maybe not take it in. There are scientists that say, well, it's only in small dosages, so it's not really going to affect you. Oh, yeah, just like anything. You know, if you keep eating the same foods over and over with the small dosages, eventually some of that stuff doesn't go away and doesn't flush out of our system. Okay, some of those things continue in our body and they continue working through our system. So if you're taking petroleum-based products into our body, into our skin and stuff, yeah, it affects you. It affects you. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have those answers, and you can research them. But I'm guarantee you the research that you're going to be looking up is controlled by, hi, Adriana, how are you? here at the cemetery, just visiting my folks and doing a little live stream, you start to wonder, what's the purpose? What's the purpose behind it? Why are they doing this? Why are they even allowed to do that? Can't we use another? No, because you know what? It's about profit margin. It's about making money. It's about making a buck off of your back, making a buck off of you, the human person, the consumer. And I'm talking about worldwide. I'm not talking about just here in America. I'm talking about everywhere in the whole globe. I had a conversation with my friends the other day. We were talking about the food chain and maybe how the GMO structures have been introduced into the system. Now the old foods that we used to grow and we used to store in storage have all been consumed. Now, is that a true fact? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that has happened. All right, so it's really up to you to make the decisions what you're going to put in your mouth or what you're going to do. Now, I have friends who, will agree and disagree with me, and that's fine. And that's okay. You should disagree with me. You should agree with me or disagree with me or none of the above. You have to be that way. But I'm going to tell you, the foods we're eating, when you look around and you look at the physiology of people and what they look like and how they've changed, I don't remember people looking like walking pigs, okay? I don't remember people looking certain ways. And I don't mean that being disrespectful. I'm being frank as I can without being rude, okay? So I'm just trying to say, read your labels, man, because the shit you're eating ain't always good for you. And the person who tells you, well, it comes in small dosages, so it ain't going to affect your system. Yeah, all of a sudden you just contract, all this weird stuff happens to you. Especially with your kids, young kids. They're the ones we really have to look at. Us adults, maybe we're screwed. Maybe it's too late for us because it's embedded in our bodies somehow in ways that I don't know how. But there's just too much that goes on in this country and around the world. And, we really... And to honestly, and to be truthfully, you may read it and you still may not know what you're reading. Because sometimes I read the labels and I don't know what the hell I'm reading. Unless... And the ingredient package is about 100 pages long. You ever buy a donut at a bakery? Have you ever bought a donut at a bakery? Or, or a Giant Eagle, for example. They have to label what's in the cake. Or a cake. Here's a good example. Get the ingredient label for the cake. You would be shocked at everything that you read on there. Now, I'm not here telling you can't buy cake. You shouldn't go buy cake. That's up to you. I'm just telling you, read the label a little bit. Be in connection. Be one with what you're eating. Be mindful. Bless it. Give thanks to it. I was mortified. And, I'm just like everybody else. You ever eat icing and all of a sudden you can't really get it off your fingers, you can't get it off your finger. You have to actually wash your hands with soap for it to come off your body. The blue little icing, that shouldn't be that way. That's your first clue that something ain't right with the foods you're eating, okay? Now, in a practical world, in a realistic world, we can't always grow things in our gardens. Some of us don't have the capacity or the knowledge or even care to do that, okay? But some of us who do, it takes a while for things to grow. It takes a while for a tomato plant to, go through its cycle. If you're looking for instant gratification in a garden, then just feed off the weeds for a while, okay? Because that's what our ancestors used to do. They used to feed off the weeds, the dandelions, and all the different things. And again, do your research if you're going to feed off the weeds, because one man's weed is another man's medicine, another one's, lively, and that's how they live. Years and years and years ago, people who used to grow the crops wouldn't actually eat their crops. They would actually eat the things that were in their gardens. I call it greens, like the collard greens, all that kind of stuff. That's what kept them healthy. So read your labels, folks. And you know what? And I posted things because I think it's important for us to understand that we're being used as these little mini factories, okay? Refinery factories. So we eat it, we pee it out, and we poop it out, and it goes down the toilet. Oh, so that's fine. We're good now. We can actually dispose of it a legal way. We become these little micro factories that break down certain things, but we can't break it down. Remember, we can't break it down. But since it goes through our system, then you have to imagine this, okay? And I'm telling you to really think about it. Imagine this. You eat this, goes through your system, has no whatsoever benefit to our system, and then all of a sudden we flush it out. And that's a legal process. And I guarantee you, somewhere, someplace, that's written that that's legal, okay? I don't know how they worded it. I don't know how it's been said, but I guarantee you, somewhere, and these bills and all these things that they write, someplace it's written that way, okay? And some of us who are here on this chat are probably really crafty and really open-minded to do the research. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where to look, where to start, because I'm just going to be truthful with that, because I don't. Most of us don't. Even if we Googled it, I wouldn't even know how to Google it. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try and see why they're able to put petroleum-based products in our foods, even if it's at a level that supposedly is not harmful to our system. Okay? Well, I got a problem with that. It's like drinking. I feel like I'm drinking the synthetic oil that my truck uses to keep itself, lubricated inside. It just doesn't sound right. Now, true, there are oils and stuff that are in plants. There are things that are in nature, but those are natural, symbiotic things that are naturally put there. Is petroleum a natural thing? Yeah, petroleum was at one time a living organism. Okay, so maybe that's why they think it's okay. Then when you start adding this and that, adding hydrogen and molecules to this and that, you start creating all kinds of different things. Okay, so I'm not here trying to be Mr. Anti, I'm just trying to be here Mr. Awareness more than anything. Be aware, okay? I also posted in my thing, I said, you know what, I'm glad Donald Trump won. Okay, some of you are going to go, oh, Iggy, why did Donald Trump win? I'm glad Donald Trump won. I'm going to tell you why. Because it opened the eyes of people here in this country, all over the world, that we still got freaking problems around the world. So whatever we thought that we were going to be doing really good, that we were all getting along and we were all doing so fine, no. You know what happened? It unveiled the masks, okay? And that's good to have the masks, because, there's an old saying. In Japanese culture, we have 3 masks that we show people. The one we show the public, the one we show our family, and the one that we show only to ourselves. Okay, so now we have all this stuff going on around the world. It's kind of like when Hitler took over, okay? Remember, this is an awakening. Humanity awoke. Humanity said, well, shit, we got a problem. We're going to have to end this. We're going to have to figure out a way to get this. Yeah, we should have never gotten to the problem to begin with, but here we are. It happened. And there's been many genocides before that happened and caused us to fight and do things that we shouldn't have done to humanity. But it did happen. So you're talking about this bureaucracy, this new government that's in place. We helped build that. That's on us, okay? That's on each and one of us, because we're not proactive. If you're proactive, yeah, but there's different ways to be proactive. But if you don't want to be proactive, then you know what? You get what you get. You don't get any results. You get the results of what other people create for you, okay? Just like your politicians. When you're not proactive and you're not involved with them, you know what happens? They make decisions for you. And they make the decisions, even if hundreds of us decided that we don't want to go away, they can still make the decision and go, you know what? I'm going to do it this way because I know what's best for you, because I just got my pockets lined with a bunch of money. And you know what? And I think it's going to be okay, because the research they showed me tells me that I should do it this way. And poor you don't know nothing. Poor you don't know anything. Poor you is stupid, because you know what? You won't do the research. And I guarantee you, even if you do the research, they still create the research. Okay, they are the ones that still create. Are they supposed to be truthful? Well, I hope so. I hope whatever they create is supposed to be truthful, and I hope what they say is legitimate, and I hope what their research is about is something that they're supposed to do. I don't know, but sometimes I'm really wondering now. The FDA and all these other organizations and all the EPA and all these things that we have in this country. I am grateful for being here in this country. Okay, I will say that I am grateful for being in this country, but I question some of these things, like how some of these products and some of these things get passed through, and how some of these things are able to be used. I remember my little sister one time, she asked me, goes, I'm going to grow up and find the cure for cancer. I told her, Olivia, they already have the cure for cancer. She goes, no, they don't. I said, there's different types of cancers, but they have the cure for cancer. They don't want to sell you the cure for cancer. It doesn't make them money if they keep you healthy and cure. That's not where they make their money. They make their money by pill pushing you. We shouldn't have this opioid epidemic in this country, and then we find syringes all over our neighborhoods and all these things. And yet, we allow these companies to poison these poor people. And these people had choice, to some degree, I believe. But they didn't at the same time. When you're in pain and you're hurting, you want the pain to go away. Eventually, you become addicted to this, you become addicted to that. So, going back to the foods, you become addicted, okay? Sugars and fats. You become addicted to that stuff. That stuff, you crave it. You want it. Just ask yourself, what's the last few things you ate the other day? You'd be surprised. Most of you probably snacked more than you really ate. And I questioned that myself too. And I snacked more than I ate. And then when I went back and I snacked, what did I have? I had a freaking licorice. And it was a red one, okay? Should have had a black one. But the red one's made out of that petroleum stuff. That's my point, you know? And then I had some chips, and they were made with this chemical that causes whatever. But you get my point. You get where I'm going at. Okay? It's really, 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 really up to us to work together. And I don't know, there's 100 million ways to work together. I'm not sure. Not everybody's into working together, okay? I'll just be freaking honest. Not everybody really wants to work with everybody, okay? Those of you who do, I commend you. It's awesome. It's powerful. Keep going. Don't stop, because you'll find the people who want to work and build with you. There's another group of people who don't give a crap, okay? And you'll never get to them. They will never understand you. They won't care. They're happy where they're at, okay? And leave them alone. Let them be. Let them do. And let them... If you want to be the voice for humanity, the voice for humanity is honoring and respecting that people are where they're at and allow them to grow. Some people will never grow. Some people will never see it. Some people don't want to see it. Some people are very happy where they're at. So allow them to have it. And you know, Angela, you pointed out a good point about organic. Organic, and I had a conversation with a very good farmer friend of mine. Organic is everything. Certified organic is a process that the U.S. government gives you when you grow things a certain way that they ask you to grow it in order for it to be certified organic. They may not use, herbicides, but they may use pesticides, okay? Really look into that, because I was kind of fooled on that too. And I was really confused about that. How they can charge me 50 cents more for an apple that was certified organic. And my friend goes, well, Iggy, we don't use herbicides. Like, we don't kill the weeds, but we do use pesticides because we have to kill the bugs, because the bugs will eat all our crops. Now, not all of them do that, but this particular certified organic farmer told me this. And I was kind of shocked, because I was in we had a little farmer's market going on, and we were selling things. And I was proud to tell everybody it was organic. I was like, oh yeah, we're all organic. And then when I asked him, and he didn't have vegetables, he bought it from the Amish. And he goes, I got this from the Amish. I said, oh cool, they don't use any pesticides. He goes, well, I don't know what they use actually, because nobody knows what they do, you know, because they're kind of like in this little secret world of theirs. So be vigilant. Be the person who's studying. Be on it. Be with it, because even with all the knowledge that you may have, you may never want to eat again. You know, but the point is, just know, in our garden, in our grass. Look here, I'm gonna pan out here, okay, real quick, and show you some things. Okay, there's grass here. Amongst this grass is a plant called plantain, okay? And there's plantain right there, okay? It's actually a plant that came from Europe. That plant is actually used, okay, for bites, for healing, for wounds, when you make into a salve. Okay, that's a good example of things that we have around us when we start to study, we start to learn, okay? And the grass, there's dandelions. There's all kinds of cool stuff here, you know, when you start to look. The point is, we don't live like that in communion with our world anymore. And yes, I'm in the cemetery, if you're wondering where I'm at. I'm over here visiting my folks because I love them and I miss them. But folks, I'm just saying, do what you got to do, be what you got to be, and just be your own advocate, okay? Be your own advocate for your family, be your own advocate for those that you love. Just be your own advocate, because no one else is going to advocate for you. And if you think that they're going to advocate for you, there's going to be a group, there's going to be a small little piece and part of that people that sorry about that, just my screen faded out. Be advocate, Be an advocate, okay? Advocate for you. Don't advocate for the world. If you advocate for you, then you influence the world. But when we try to go out and tell the world, hey, we got problems, people are looking at you going, well, you got problems too. Let's see what you do. But when you work on you and advocate for yourself, then what happens is this. People watch and people follow. People don't follow people who don't, walk their talk, They're just like, hey, yeah, it's cool, but then they move on. But like I told you, one of the key points here, some people will do it, some people won't, okay? I'll allow those people to be where they need to be. Work on you. As you work on yourself, you work on others. Others want to follow and come along with you. Nobody wants to just be spoon-fed and led. Some people want to be part of it. They want to be involved with it, okay? So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm learning to do. And that's what I'm working on right now, is to advocate for me. Because when I advocate for me, it helps advocate others, and others have hope, and they can see that they can do it too. It's when we don't, and when we're idle, is when things don't really happen. So the foods, we hit it pretty hard with the foods. We talked about the foods and stuff. And I'm not telling you to run off and eat grass and be vegan or vegetarian, like I said earlier. I'm just asking you to be just conscious of things. Be aware of things. Just be aware. If that's the path you choose to live, if that's the path you choose to walk in eating the things that you're going to eat. And that's okay. That's all you can do. That's all you can really do. Okay, so many of us want to convert people. Nobody wants to be converted, man. I don't want to be converted. You try to convert me, you better have a really cool story, man, about why you want me to be converted, because it takes a lot to convert me. I'm very independent in my own thinking, in my own mind. And I agree with you, all right? And that's fine. But if you try to convert me, that won't work. But if you show me things and you let me see things and I watch how you live and you're living it that way, then I get it. Then I understand, okay? But each one of us, be your personal trainer, be your personal guru, be your personal love, be your personal lover, love yourself. When we start loving pieces and parts of us that have been kind of wounded, then good things happen. We're not always going to be perfect, and I don't want to be freaking perfect, okay? I like being flawed. I like knowing that I can screw up and not have to worry about it, and just keep moving forward. So I trip and fall on my face 10 times. I get up 11 times, okay? If I fall again, I get up 12, 13, 14 times. That's life. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us us. Okay, Mother Earth is a good example right now. So right now, she's getting shook because she's pissed. She's tired of our shit. She's tired of all this stuff. So she's stretching her bones and she's causing a little bit of a ruckus out there in California. Okay, and there's a couple more coming. And then you know what? The volcanoes are going to erupt, and we're going to have some tsunamis. We're going to have things that seem very weird to us, but you know what? It's very natural to the earth. Very, 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 something that's just very normal. What's not normal is how we are affected by it. That's not normal because we're not used to it. We're used to having things our own way because we're in control, because we're gods. We're little demigods, and we can control everything. We can control the weather. We can control just about anything. We can control how plants grow. We can actually put a little Terminator gene in them so they don't regrow. So when you plant them, they'll only grow this tall. The heirlooms, you know what I'm talking about? You get my point. Most of you, what I'm talking about, understand what I'm saying. And for those of you who don't, it may sound a little bit off the wall. And that's okay. I'm off the wall. I'm like that. Go have fun. Think about today. It's really hot. I get it. But there's so much things you can do right now, and so many things we can just go out and explore and see. Because most of you, some of you I know, are going to be like, oh, it's so damn hot. And then the winter comes, oh, it's so damn cold. Where's the in-between? Fall? I don't know. But even our seasons, and my friends, we talked about, the seasons seem to have changed as well. The seasons have shifted. There's this big shift in the seasons. Now all the seasons are kind of winter shorter, spring is longer, summer short, fall is long. It depends what year it falls on. Every year seems a little different. For me, it just seems like summer comes really early sometimes, or spring is just a little bit longer. And I think this year we definitely definitely have had a lot of rain. Okay, which is good. But we live in a big bubble. We live in this big encapsulated Earth Mother, and she's a big ball of joy and love. So everything that happens in here stays in here, kind of. There's some things that seep out, but most of the stuff that we have stays with us. The waters, the rains, the winds, all that stuff kind of stays in here. It doesn't really go anywhere. It just moves around the globe, unless she's shifted or she's turned or whatever. So find it. Find that rhythm. Find your rhythm. Find your beat, because that's where you're at. And speaking of rhythms and beats, tonight we're going to be drumming at the Reiki Center for those of you who want to join us. And those of you who've never drummed, just come on down. There's plenty of things to do and have fun with. If it's too hot right now, come out later. It's fun. It's a good time. It's at 7 p.m. It's in Grandview Heights for those of you who want to drum or are into drumming. So read your labels. Remember that. That's key number one. Read your labels. And also question what you read in your research. Just because it says that way, just always have in the back of your mind that, so many microns of this won't affect you. Well, as far as I know, microns add up and things add up over time. And if you're okay with being a human waste facility, then that's cool. I have no problem with that. We're already a human waste facility anyhow. So it's natural for us to discard and dump, things just like the earth does. Okay? But she recycles them and reuses them. We don't kind of do that. We just kind of flush it and hope it goes somewhere and disappears into this little tank somewhere, and somebody spins it in violently in some type of blender, and then flushes it through and going, oh, this water tastes really good. There's even research now that they said that there's medicines that that have gone down to a level where they can't even filter them out of your water. Okay, I think they need to go talk to the Incas or restudy how the Incas used to do drain and water their fields and water their gardens. They had a really elaborate system. Okay, so they need to kind of go back to the basics. Sometimes going back to the basics is important. And our ancestors got us this far, is because they were doing something right, or maybe they were doing something wrong. And maybe the ones that did it wrong are no longer here. No. But the ones who are here and the ones who pushed us here and got us to this point, it's up to us now. It's our responsibility to keep it moving forward. Okay? I'm very afraid if we lose the know-how to do what our ancestors used to do, we can have a really bad problem. And I hope that doesn't happen, because that's something that is not very good for us. Just like the natives and ancestral different tribes have not passed along knowledge because of some reason or another, or because of just nobody cares anymore. It's important. Like in my culture, we pass the information along. Peruvians love to share food, music, love, kisses, hugs, everything. That's just who we are, because we understand that if we don't pass that along, it's going to get lost. So I hope that my other indigenous brothers and sisters understand that we have to pass it along. And you know what? There is, and there always has been this prophecy of the rainbow tribe. Who are the rainbow tribes? Whites, black, Asians, all of us, everybody. We're all the rainbows, okay? The things sometimes that indigenous people have learned and lost are taken by other people and reintroduced into society, even though it's been lost. Should we condemn that? As long as it's respectful, as long as it understands its place and its purpose, okay? All right? Because it's important to us to not lose the knowledge that has been passed down. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It should not matter. You should pass the knowledge on. If you have knowledge, pass it along. Children love to learn. Young adults love to learn. Old people love to learn. Everybody loves to learn when it's something that centers them to the earth, something that centers them to their life. Okay? People ask me all the time, what groups you're with? I'm with this group. Oh, that group, they're not Indians. Well, it's not about being Indian. It's about passing knowledge, information. It's about passing things that are valuable, things that are important. Okay? So I came from a background of shamanism from my family, and I'm passing along to those who want to listen. I share it all the time. I drum, I sing, I dance, I put panda hats on, you name it, I cook. I've done a lot of things. I've had a very eclectic life. I've been trying to connect with my brothers and sisters on this plane for a very long time. Not just this one, many, many lifetimes. Why do I do that? Because you know what? We need to have love. We need to have hope. We need to have time to have fun and share with each other the things that we used to do in the villages, in the communities, that we used to do. We used to gather. We didn't have TV. We didn't have Netflix. I like those things, just like everybody else. But you know what? But there's something about community. There's something about us sharing, us just being involved with one another, being connected and hooked with each other, and sharing and loving one another. We don't have that anymore. We don't have it like we used to. We have it in spurts. Oh, the fair came. Oh, yeah, that's really fun. You know? Yes, knowledge is powerful once it's applied. And if you keep it in storage, it's like a battery packaged on the shelf. It's there. But if it's not applied, it doesn't become wisdom. We need to create wisdom. That's when our knowledge becomes powerful, is when it becomes the wisdom that we carry in us to share with others. We don't want to be fact carriers. We don't want to be people just be walking encyclopedias. We want to be people who actually do and share and mold and love and recreate and create things that have already been created in the universe. There's nothing new under the sun, they say, right? That's an old saying, biblical saying, but that's actually an old saying in a lot of cultures. There's nothing new under the sun. Why? Because we don't die. We leave this incarnation, we leave this body, and we return. Some of us have the knowledge to remember, some of us don't. But yet we have a knowing. There's a knowing when we return. We know that we belong to a certain group of people. We belong to a certain tribe. We find each other because it's instilled, it's embedded in us, it's inside of us. Because our soul and our spirit, we are one. We are earth. If we were to die today, all of our ashes, all of our bones and all of our skins would rot away into the ground like the leaves that fall off the trees. We would whittle away and become the nourishment and the food the same way that we feed the trees. You know, so we're the same way. Wherever we spread our leaves, spread our roots, you know, we are the nourishment for the next generation. Everything that we have today is on loan to us, okay, for the people who are in the future, our children, our grandchildren, their children. Everything that we use today is on loan, as it will be to them as well. So how do we give back to them something that's good and positive, something that's powerful, and something that's not made from greed? I do believe, and I personally, this is one of my prophecies, is that humanity will see a big downfall, not from wars, not from famines, just because of the disconnect, the human disconnect. Eventually, we just fade away. And that's crazy to think we just fade away. But we're already kind of fading away. Some of us have already faded away. We fade away into these realms of our minds. We fade away into, you know, technology. And I have nothing against technology except for AI personally, but we'll get into another topic. But we do fade away. How do we fade away? Well, we won't even know it happened. One day there will only be a small group of us going, where'd everybody go? Eventually we just turn off. And we just move. It doesn't, you can't see it now. You can't see it now because we're all here, because we're all in it. Okay? We won't be around when that happens. It just, we'll see the beginnings of it, beginnings of that. And then what happens? You know, humanity collapses because it can't grow. Because we've polluted ourselves. We've made ourselves sterile. We've made ourselves weak. We've conditioned. And I'm hoping, because on the other extreme, I also have another vision of which way we can go, is that we can actually become very beautiful. We can become very united. Not in a utopic society. Not in this fantasy world that we would like to create. But in a way that it's actually where we actually understand each other and respect and honor. But we still have our freaking egos in our little things that gives us these little hiccups and the things that make us think. But I don't think humanity will be so harsh in this other world that I see. But I see those two worlds. Sometimes I think the first world is a little better, because the second world, there's a little bit of a block. I can't see a little bit beyond it. There's this little thing that I don't know. I don't know how it got there. And I'm hoping that we didn't hurt others in order to create that. You know what I'm saying? Selective, genetic manipulation, moving certain people out because they're not well and they don't serve us. That's the kind of things I hope doesn't happen in that second incarnation of a beautiful world. Okay? But anyhow, I guess that's all I have to say today. I said a lot, actually. But I said it because it comes from my heart. It comes from in here. It's what I'm feeling. Like I told you earlier, it wasn't about collecting facts and throwing things and figures and numbers at you. Intuitively, all of you know, and every single one of you feel what I feel sometimes, and I feel what you feel sometimes. And then sometimes I don't know what I'm feeling. It's because we're human beings. Before we're Peruvian, American, South American, Asian, European, we're all human beings on this planet. Each one of us has the destiny to fulfill. Now, our first destiny is to be born, our second one is to die, and the third one is to experience it however you want in the middle, between birth and death. It's really up to us how you want to experience your destiny. We're all destined for the ground, or wherever we land, okay? But you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it while you're here. And why am I in the cemetery? I'll tell you why. And I've told you this before. My folks are here. And so are other people's folks. Grandchildren, family, love. And the wind's blowing, so that's clarification for me that what I'm saying is true. These people all had dreams. Every single person here had a dream. Every single tombstone that I'm looking at, marked and unmarked, they had a desire at some point, some place in their lives to make a better place for themselves, their families, or maybe the world. And then there's a group of people in here just as well who were happy being who they were and not involved, not connected, disconnected. And I think when we understand that we allow people what they need for themselves, then people will come to where they need to be, with you or with others, never. There's going to be so many people that you'll never meet in your life. I've never met any of these people here except maybe a handful of people who are buried here. Okay? But all these people, I do know one thing. They were all human beings. Every single one of them. Some of them may have died at birth. Some of them may have died at 102. But everybody had purpose. Everybody shared. Everybody had a moment. Everybody here affected somebody. Everybody who's laying here affected somebody. My parents' death affected me. And now I'm sitting here in the cemetery by their gravesite talking to you because they affected my life in a positive and sometimes negative way, and in an indifferent way, a neutral way as well. But they affected me to see the world differently, to question, to ask. Not to be a radical or rebel or a hippie or anything, but to be a human being. To be a human being and say, me as a human being want to know, what do I need to be doing and not just being? It's easy to be, but I want to see what I can do. A human doing. I want to be human, and I want to be doing. I want to be exploring. I want to be drumming. I want to be playing. I want to be singing. I want to be loving. I want to be hugging. Okay? And you guys can fill in the blanks with the other stuff because you're all nasty. I know what you're all thinking. No, I'm just teasing. But my point is this. Just be, and do. Enjoy what you have. Be grateful, even if it's painful, because the pain sometimes is what makes us grateful too. It's not always, sunshine. Okay? Yeah, I see you had a nasty mind. You had a dirty mind there. But anyhow, you guys are awesome, and I really appreciate you taking time to listening to this little mini video chat, podcast, whatever you want to call it, because I haven't really been doing all the other stuff, because I like connecting with you, and I like talking with you guys, and hopefully we get to drum together, because it's always fun. Just make a difference in your life, make a difference in your world, and you'll make a difference in other people's lives in the world. All right, guys. Peace out. Maybe I'll see you tonight at Drum Circle. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy 4th of July. That's a whole nother topic. You guys have a great day. All my relations, Irisikwi, peace and love, Takuyasin, and all, Namaste, all those things. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. So be well, and I'll see you guys soon.